Hey guys, this is your NFL opening line report for week 4. We need a bounce back week here. We took a narrow loss on week 1, had a big winning week for week 2, and then gave it all back in week 3. So week 3 was a bad losing week, and we had some bad beats. We had Packers in a teaser. They shouldn't have lost, but obviously nothing is worse than the Rams not covering 3.5 points. I lost all interest in that game. It kept popping up on Red Zone, and it was primarily the Philadelphia Eagles scoring points. But at no point was I concerned about it at all. In fact, I had a sprinkle on the Rams to win outright, and I felt like I was in a unbelievable position to sweep, and in the end ended up with absolutely nothing, which ended up swinging the entire week. Still, it came down to the Monday where it was down to Baltimore Ravens needing to cover, and Baltimore removed themselves, I think, in the eyes of most people, as their power-ranked #1 team. It's very difficult now for people to have a solid read on Baltimore after losing that game. Do they just lose to all big teams? Can they win close games? Just so many question marks about Baltimore, and as we say in the UK, their bottle. Do they have the bottle to go on and win the Super Bowl? They certainly have the talent. I also question if they have the coach as well, to be honest. So let's move on with these lines. I use the term opening line report loosely here. I should really do this show a day earlier or 2 days earlier, because some of the opening lines have gone, and one in particular is annoying for this show anyway, not for my clientele, because that really is an opening line overview. Because if I see something on Monday morning or Sunday night that I think is going to be wrong long term, I jump on it as quickly as possible. And that was the case, and that has been proven to be correct. We certainly have CLV in that situation. So I want to start recording these earlier, because I don't think it's a genuine opening line reaction right now, because I have reacted to some of these lines and already got money down on them. But it is what it is. And also, I just want to make it clear, this isn't an analytical overview of the lines. This is just still a reaction at this point, a quick reaction to the games. I'm not going to go into analytics as to why I like one side of the play. That's either going to be behind a paywall, or at the very least it will be on a podcast that I do with Cav. And even there, obviously, the intention is for guys to go and get those premium plays, because this isn't a charity, and we both have services. I have lockbetting.com, and collectively we have patreon.com/NFL Pick 6. So that's where we want you guys to go to get the real premium picks that we're high on. And on these shows that we do together, we won't speak about teasers, we won't speak about parlays, and we certainly won't speak about props. And there's a lot of that behind the paywall content. So be wary of that. These are not my plays. These are just what I'm sitting at here on Wednesday night, before I do any extensive research and look deeply into the numbers. I've obviously had a reaction to the plays that I've put out immediately, and have deep delved into those numbers to confirm I like them before I put them out. But as for the other games, stuff that didn't jump off the page, at this juncture, I haven't looked into it in any kind of analytical way. So just be clear about that. We are essentially, me and you, the watcher, we're sitting at the bar, we're having a drink, we're eating some wings, and we're just talking about these opening lines. That's what we're trying to do here. I could almost call this the chicken wing report as well. So we're doing this in time for Thursday Night Football, which is tomorrow, and the Cardinals are 1.5 point underdogs here at home against Seattle. I don't think Seattle should be a road dog here. I think the Cardinals will be annoyed about how they lost that game against San Francisco. I like the home. It's not even favourite, a home dog on Thursday night. I just like the home team on Thursday night in general. So I'm going to lean with the Cardinals here. Not a strong lean, but I lean with them. Up next, you have the Vikings and the Steelers. And the Steelers are 2.5 point underdogs here. And they're listed at home, but this is on a neutral field. And it's incredible, because I listened to a podcast this week, a huge podcast, and they wanted to take the Steelers as a home dog. And not at any point did they talk about the fact this was going to be played in Ireland, because even though they are a far bigger podcast than mine, they didn't know that this game was taking place in Ireland. So be careful who you tail, what you invest money into. because these experts aren't as expert-ish as you would be led to believe. But I like the Steelers here anyway. I like the fact that they have Aaron Rodgers, who seems to be constantly doing these international trips. I think his leadership will be key. And yeah, I just like the Steelers getting the points here, what I think will be a low-scoring game. Up next, you have the Carolina Panthers getting 5.5 points, traveling to New England. I don't know who New England are. I don't know if they should be laying 5.5 points here in this spot, because Carolina are a team who looked much better last week, finally. But I'll narrowly lean towards the Patriots to win and cover, because I just like them to win. Up next, you have the Lions hosting the Browns, and the Lions are 9.5 point favourites. Got to take the Lions, but this is a double letdown spot here. I just feel for the Browns, given what their expectations were at the start of the season, that felt more like their Super Bowl, whereas the Lions, they just feel like a team who are now actually on track. I think this is a great teaser leg, taking it down to 4. But I do take the Lions here to take it down to 3.5. But I do like the Lions here to cover the 9.5 here. I keep saying 10 because I was just so used to this being 10. And the minute I press the record button and come on, it's sitting here for me at 9.5. So in my head, I was thinking about this the whole time as a 10, which is a key number, and it's come off the key number. It's at 9.5, which is better, obviously. Up next, you have the Giants hosting the Chargers, and the Giants are 6.5 point underdogs here. Everybody wins in New York, so take the Chargers. The only thing I'm worried about is Dart changing over for Wilson. Will that be a morale boost? I think it's a tough spot and a tough team for this quarterback to play against in his first game. And he could ultimately look very bad here. I like the Chargers to win and cover. Up next, you have the Buffalo Bills, minus 15.5 point favourites against the Saints. I don't even know if the Saints could beat the best college teams right now. And the Bills, they don't stop scoring. They just run it up. I'm not worried about a backdoor here. In recent years, these lines have tended to get covered. So I'm going to take the Bills, minus 15.5 points. Up next, you have the Philadelphia Eagles as minus 3.5 point favourites travelling to Tampa. Tampa are loaded with injuries. It didn't stop them from winning last week, but the Jets were statistically the better team. And at some point, someone's going to beat Tampa. These are two of the luckiest teams in the NFL. This is a game I don't want no part of. I lean the Eagles just because of the Tampa injuries. But for me, this is a game I really need to look into deeper. Up next, you have the Houston Texans, and they are laying 7.5 points at home to the Titans. It's now or never for the Texans, and I wouldn't advocate betting on this team at all. But at this moment in time, who's worse in this league than the Titans, other than maybe the Giants and the Saints? For me, they are the third worst team in the league, and they can't stop you from scoring points. This has to be a get-right spot for Stroud and the offense, for Nico Collins and everybody here on the offense. They have to get right against this Titans team, who are absolutely horrible defensively. And I just look for this Texans defense to turn up here again in this divisional game and stop the Titans from doing anything. And that should allow the Texans to tiptoe to a win and a cover. And I'm talking 24-7, something along those lines. And the under is definitely in play here. Under 39 for me would definitely be something that I would look at. Up next, you have the Commanders and the Falcons, and this is a 50-50 game. There is no spread here. The Falcons are the home team. I lean towards the Falcons at home. They lost by 20 points last week against the Panthers. This is a huge bounce back spot. This is one of your NFL bets, or one of your NFL games where you disregard what you saw last week completely. It won't be relevant. I think the Falcons find a way to win this game. Up next, you have the Colts going into LA to face the Rams, where the Rams are currently 3.5 point favourites. But because that's even money plus 100, it means you won't have to lay too much juice on the Rams to get the 3. And that's what I would do. I think these two teams are in very different spots here. The Rams absolutely blew a game, and the Colts look like a team who are unstoppable and cannot stop scoring points. I think that comes to a halt here against a Rams team who are going to be in a furious bounce back spot here. This is a non-divisional road game with the Colts going into the West Coast. And I feel that the Rams will win here and end the Colts 100% start. Up next, you have the Jags traveling to the 49ers, where the 49ers are minus 3-point favourites. I like the 49ers here. I like them getting back Purdy in this spot. And I think they'll find a way to win and cover and to continue their 100% start. Up next, you have the Ravens traveling to the Chiefs, where they're minus 2.5-point favourites. I like the Ravens here by 20. I just feel they are going to react just like they did react to their loss against the Bills. Although that Cleveland performance wasn't as impressive as the scoreline looks, I watched the whole game because I had so many bets on the Ravens. I had their team total, I had the halftime, I had the teaser, I had the Ravens down to, I believe it was 6, or was it 5 or 6, and then I also had them in the teaser, and I also had the spread, which was I think 11. But yeah, I did everything on that game, and I might do something similar here. The Chiefs are broken, I feel, until they get their offense back, and I don't think they can hang with a team like the Ravens. And I think this is a spot where the Ravens just run all over the Chiefs, light them up, make a statement, and then suddenly everybody will be back on the Ravens and they'll be power ranked as number 1 again until they lose another stupid game. So yeah, I like the Ravens here to win and to significantly cover the spread. Up next, you have the Chicago Bears traveling to the Raiders. Again, this will be your spot where, and by the way, the spread is 1. And I think this will be your spot where people are down on the Raiders and they're high on Chicago after they saw them destroy the Cowboys. But I think that just makes this the betting spot to take the Raiders. And up next, you have the Green Bay Packers traveling to the Dallas Cowboys for Sunday Night Football. This is your Micah Parsons game. And the Cowboys are 6.5-point underdogs. This is the one where if it had been a real opening line report, it would have been telling you that the Packers were minus 5.5-point favourites. Now, that didn't hang around very long. The 6.5 is still appealing to me. I think after what the Packers did last week, look for them to get right here against the Cowboys defense that will just allow you points. Whilst we know the Packers defense don't allow you points, the Cowboys were struggling to score last week against the Bears. I don't know what they're going to do here against the highly motivated Packer teams in a Micah Parsons game where Parsons is going to have this defense just 100% focused. And at the same time, the Cowboys are going to want to not get sacked by Parsons. They're not going to want him to have a good game. But I don't think they're going to be able to do anything about it. Green Bay are just a much better team. They should be coming to this game 3-0. That was a completely complacent loss. And that looks like the type of situation that could repeat itself at some point in the season. If Green Bay aren't able to see that game out and take opportunity after opportunity to win it, it is highly concerning because that was only the Cleveland Browns that you let hang around and beat you. How is that going to come back and potentially bite you in the arse in the second half of the season or the postseason, which I'm certain Green Bay will get to. But that was highly worrying. But here, big bounce back spot for the Packers. Up next, we move across to 2 games happening on Monday night. We start with the Dolphins hosting the Jets, where the Dolphins are 2.5-point favourites. The Jets put up good numbers last weekend in that loss against Tampa. They were unlucky actually not to win those games if you look at the underlying metrics. But here against the Dolphins, it's make or break time for the Dolphins. They were impressive in a backs to the wall situation against the Bills. The scoreline actually flattered the Bills. And here, I think coming home, I think they do win this game. Not bothered about taking the 2.5 points. And finally, you have the Bengals traveling to the Broncos, where the Broncos are 7-point favourites. Yeah, I don't know how the Bengals salvage their season now with Joe Burrow out. I look for them to come here and to really struggle against this Broncos defense who need to look, need to look better this week than they have done for the last 2 weeks. And I think this home spot, they will do. This is a difficult game for the Bengals. I think the Bengals season is done, even though they come into this game with a 2-1 record. The loss of Burrow is far too significant for me to think that the Bengals are actually going to do something this season. So I think they travel to Mile High here, lose this game, and I look for Broncos to cover that -7. That's it for me and your NFL opening line report. Of course, if you want to get all my official plays, head over to lockbetting.com. 147, soon to be 148 months in a row of transparent and track profit. We were recently on a 14-day winning streak that ended on Monday Night Football. But guess what? We have bounced back with an unbelievable Wednesday where we just annihilated our soccer card, going 6-1-1. Look at that for a bounce back, and we're looking to have a bounce back week in the NFL. We've never had a losing NFL season. We've done it for 11 years. We've had 11 winning seasons, and over on the Six Pack, me and Cav have had 4 winning seasons on a row at patreon.com/NFL Pick 6. So if you want that, that's just 6 plays a week, 3 from me, 3 from Cav. Occasionally we give out a bonus pick, but if you want my plays and you want to be with a service that has never had a losing month for over 12 years, head over to lockbetting.com. Until next week's opening line report, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.